You've entered the archives of the forgotten. I'm Dr. Haunted. Tonight I'll show you what was never meant to be seen. Just remember, once you know the truth, you can't unsee it. Working the graveyard shift at Mercy General Hospital was supposed to be quiet. Fewer emergencies, lighter patient loads, and decent pay for staying awake when the world sleeps. I'd been a registered nurse for 3 years, but the night shift was new territory. My supervisor, Helen Rodriguez, walked me through the protocols on my first night. Rounds every 2 hours, respond to call lights immediately, and always work in pairs after midnight, she said, her voice carrying decades of hospital experience. Never investigate strange sounds alone. The third-floor geriatric ward was my assignment, 40 beds housing elderly patients in various stages of recovery. Most slept peacefully through the night, requiring minimal care beyond medication schedules and comfort checks. My second week, I noticed her, room 314's patient chart listed it as empty, but every night I'd see a figure in the bed. An elderly woman with silver hair, always facing the window, never moving or requiring attention. I asked Helen about room 314. Her expression grew distant. Margaret Chen was our longest-term patient, she said quietly. Worked here as a nurse for 45 years before becoming a patient herself. Spent her final months in that room, always worried about her patients getting proper care. Margaret had died 6 months earlier, but according to Helen, she'd never really left. Other night shift nurses reported seeing her making rounds, checking on patients, ensuring everyone received the attention they deserved. She only appears to nurses who genuinely care, Helen continued. Margaret can sense dedication to patient welfare. She's particular about who she trusts with her people. That night, I paid closer attention to room 314. At 2 a.m. I saw her clearly, a translucent figure in vintage nursing whites, moving silently between beds, adjusting blankets, checking IV lines with practiced efficiency. When elderly Mr. Patterson in room 309 began having breathing difficulties, his call light malfunctioned. I would have missed his distress entirely, but the figure from 314 appeared in my peripheral vision, pointing urgently toward his room. I found Mr. Patterson struggling with his oxygen tube, quickly reconnecting it and adjusting his position. His breathing stabilized within minutes. Without Margaret's guidance, those critical minutes might have been lost. Working alongside Margaret became the most fulfilling nursing experience of my career. Her invisible expertise guided my decisions, which patients needed extra monitoring, when medication schedules should be adjusted, how to comfort families during difficult nights. Other nurses began requesting the third-floor night shift, but Margaret only revealed herself to those who demonstrated genuine compassion for patient care. She'd chosen her living partners carefully, ensuring her beloved patients received the attention they deserved. I stayed on the night shift for 3 years, collaborating with the finest nurse who ever walked those halls. Margaret's dedication had transcended death, ensuring Mercy General maintained its reputation for exceptional patient care. Some nurses retire when their bodies give out. Others find ways to continue their calling beyond physical limitations, proving that true compassion for healing is immortal. The Blackstone office complex hired me as overnight security after a series of break-ins. 20-story building, mostly empty after 6 p.m., with just me and my flashlight keeping watch over millions of dollars in equipment and data. My supervisor, Frank Torres, showed me the patrol route on my first night. Every floor, every hour, he explained, handing me a key card and radio. Check all doors, test all alarms, and log everything in the security book. The building felt different at night. Shadows stretched longer, sounds echoed strangely. and empty offices took on an ominous quality. But I needed the job, and night security paid better than day shifts. My third week, I started noticing another security guard making rounds. I'd glimpse him at the end of hallways, hear his footsteps on different floors, see his flashlight beam moving through offices I hadn't reached yet. I radioed Frank. "Who's the other guard on duty?" "I keep seeing someone else doing rounds." Static crackled before his response. "You're the only security on nights. Building's been single guard shifts for 2 years now." The Phantom Guard continued his patrols, always just ahead of me, covering areas I'd planned to check next. His routine was flawless, more thorough than my own, catching details I might have missed. One night, I found evidence of his presence, a security log entry written in handwriting that wasn't mine. 2:15 a.m., suspicious activity, 12th floor, false alarm, cleaning crew working late. I investigated the 12th floor and found the cleaning crew exactly as described. They confirmed seeing a security guard earlier, someone who'd checked their credentials and verified their work orders. The next morning, I asked Frank about the building's security history. His expression darkened. "That was probably Walter Hayes," he said quietly. "Best security guard this building ever had. Worked nights here for 15 years before the heart attack took him." Walter had died at his post 2 years earlier, found during morning rounds still clutching his flashlight, surrounded by completed security logs documenting his final patrol. "Walter loved this job more than anything," Frank continued. "Never missed a shift, never let anything slide. Death couldn't end that kind of dedication to duty." Working alongside Walter became the most secure night shifts of my career. His invisible expertise guided my attention, which doors needed extra checking, when suspicious sounds required investigation, how to handle after-hours situations with professional authority. The break-ins stopped completely. Word spread through criminal networks that Blackstone had supernatural security. Guards who never slept, never missed details, never let threats go unnoticed. Other security companies tried poaching me, but I refused to leave. Walter had accepted me as his partner, and that partnership ensured the building received protection beyond normal human limitations. I worked those night shifts for 5 years, collaborating with the most dedicated security professional who ever walked those halls. Walter's commitment had transcended death, ensuring Blackstone Complex maintained its reputation as an impenetrable fortress. Some guards retire when age catches up with them. Others find ways to continue their calling beyond physical limitations, proving that true dedication to protection is immortal. The university library stayed open 24/7 during finals week, and I drew the midnight to dawn shift. Students cramming for exams needed quiet spaces and access to research materials, even in the small hours when most of the world slept. Head librarian Dr. Sarah Mitchell briefed me on night procedures. Maintain quiet zones, help students find materials, and keep the rare book section locked after midnight, she instructed. Students get desperate during finals, some might try accessing restricted collections. The library transformed after midnight. Fluorescent lights dimmed to preserve night vision, students whispered in study carols, and the vast collection of books seemed to watch from darkened shelves. My second night, I noticed unusual activity in the rare book section. Lights flickered on and off, pages rustled without wind, and I occasionally glimpsed someone moving between the restricted stacks. I investigated with my master key, finding the rare book section perfectly organized but somehow different. Books had been reshelved with greater precision, research materials arranged more logically, and several volumes sat open to pages that would help struggling students. A note lay on the central desk, written in elegant handwriting. Psychology references, section Q400. Student at table 12 needs Freud's complete works for her thesis. I checked table 12 and found Jessica, a graduate student near tears over her psychology dissertation. The books mentioned in the note were exactly what she needed, resources she'd been unable to locate through normal catalogue searches. The next morning I asked Dr. Mitchell about the note. Her eyes filled with recognition. "That's Eleanor Hartwell's handwriting," she said softly. "She was our head librarian for 37 years before retiring last spring. Passed away just 3 months ago." Eleanor had dedicated her life to helping students succeed academically. She'd memorized the location of every book, knew which resources would help with specific assignments, and never left a research question unanswered. Eleanor couldn't bear the thought of students struggling when she knew exactly how to help them. Dr. Mitchell continued. Death hasn't diminished her commitment to academic success. Working with Eleanor's spirit became the most rewarding night shifts of my library career. Her invisible guidance helped me assist students more effectively, which databases contained needed information, where obscure references could be found, how to guide research without overwhelming struggling minds. Students began specifically requesting night shifts in the library, claiming they found exactly the resources they needed, even when those materials seemed impossible to locate through normal means. The rare book section became legendary among graduate students. Complex research questions would be answered overnight, as if the collection itself understood their needs and arranged appropriate materials accordingly. I extended my night shift work throughout the academic year, collaborating with the most knowledgeable librarian who ever served students. Eleanor's dedication had transcended death, ensuring the university library maintained its reputation for miraculous research assistance. Some librarians retire when their minds grow tired. Others find ways to continue their calling beyond physical limitations, proving that true love of learning and helping others is immortal. Running a 24-hour truck stop meant keeping the service bay open all night. Long-haul truckers needed emergency repairs at all hours, and roadside breakdowns didn't respect business schedules. My boss, Big Jim Patterson, showed me the night shift routine. Handle simple repairs, call me for major problems, and keep the coffee fresh, he said, gesturing toward the service bay filled with professional equipment. Truckers depend on us when nowhere else is open. The work was steady, but manageable. Most night calls involved simple fixes, blown fuses, loose belts, minor adjustments that got drivers back on the road quickly. My third week, I started getting help with complex repairs. Tools would appear exactly where I needed them, diagnostic equipment would be preset to correct specifications, and solutions to mechanical problems seemed to present themselves. One night, I found a complete engine diagnosis written on my workbench. Rig 47, faulty fuel injector cylinder 3, replace part DJ4400X. Driver has spare in sleeper cab. The truck driver confirmed everything. He'd been experiencing exact symptoms described, had the replacement part, but couldn't identify the specific problem himself. Similar notes appeared regularly, always in the same precise handwriting, always providing accurate solutions to mechanical challenges beyond my experience level. I asked Big Jim about the mysterious help. His expression grew thoughtful. "That sounds like Eddie Kowalski's work," he said quietly. "Best diesel mechanic who ever turned a wrench. Worked here 18 years before the accident took him. Eddie had died in the service bay 2 years earlier, crushed when a hydraulic lift failed during routine maintenance. They'd found him still holding the wrench he'd been using, surrounded by completed repair orders for that night's work. Eddie lived for fixing trucks," Big Jim continued. "He'd work double shifts during busy periods, never turned away a driver in need. Death couldn't end that kind of dedication to keeping people moving." Working with Eddie's guidance became the most successful night shifts of my mechanical career. His invisible expertise helped me tackle repairs far beyond my skill level. Complex electrical problems, transmission overhauls, engine rebuilds that should have required experienced professionals. Truckers began specifically routing through our truck stop, claiming we provided the best overnight mechanical service on the interstate. Word spread through CB radio networks about miraculous repairs completed by mechanics who seemed to understand every truck ever built. The service bay developed a reputation for solving impossible problems. Vehicles that other shops couldn't fix would leave our bay running perfectly, as if decades of mechanical wisdom had diagnosed and resolved their issues. I stayed on night shifts for 4 years, collaborating with the finest diesel mechanic who ever worked. Eddie's commitment had transcended death, ensuring our truck stop maintained its reputation for keeping America's highways moving. Some mechanics retire when their bodies wear out. Others find ways to continue their calling beyond physical limitations, proving that true dedication to keeping people moving is immortal. That concludes tonight's case. But the shadows don't sleep. I'm Dr. Haunted. Until next time, keep your doors locked, your lights low, and your nightmares closer.